let's everyone come to a seated position to start our practice today. And before we start, I wanted to mention in Buddhism, there are two things that are absolutes, and they're almost the source of suffering in the Buddhist, and it is everything changes and death is for sure. And because those are the two core things that human nature resists and fears and fights against, it creates a huge amount of suffering because everything does change. COVID is a good example of that. People have a life cycle, they die. I was reflecting with a girlfriend of mine about the fact that my husband had passed away a few months ago, and COVID and the different relationships people have to the fact that there is nothing permanent about anything. And if you can get in touch with that and ride it and move with it, how much better. And within that, there is a law in physics called the law of entropy, which means from the moment of creation, the spark of creation of much of anything, it starts to dissolve and disappear. And the only reason it will keep appearing or staying is because of sustenance, because of attention about it, because of caring to keep the form. So if you think of a baby is born. If it is not fed, if it is not cared for, if it's not nurtured, as for all of us, it will die. A house, if it's not cared for, repaired, upgraded, it will die. You can tell right away something that is not being cared for in it because the entropy starts to take effect. So this is everywhere. And within our practice, we are putting this care in, this attention in, this constantly repairing, upgrading, refining, and taking time. And this is so important always, but especially now because so many people are resisting so much of the conditions of our life. And so, yes, it's extremely uncertain for all of us. And they, instead of riding the wave of what's right now, how can I care for myself now? How can I care for this life I'm living now? They go into an attachment to what was and hoping was in the past would come back. So it's an interesting observation. It's a skill over and over and over again to refine and to embody and live with coming into this moment. Right now, who am I? Right now, what is necessary to bring out and sustain myself right now? So I hope this will be the little wisdom of the day for all of us. It is for me. So let's sit with our spine nice and tall. Allow the eyes to close. And today's practice, we will start with some deep breathing. Now, we will just breathe deeply and observe where the air goes to and see if we can calm the breath down and expand it with our consciousness. So let's start by taking a slow breath in, filling up the lungs, noticing where the air is going and how it has a ripple effect into the whole physiology. You want to stop right at the point where you feel tension coming in, maybe in the shoulders or the neck, or if you're straining. And then breathe out very slowly, very relaxed, cultivating the relaxation and the fine awareness of the way. And once you're empty, you start again, allowing the breath to come in. So from this point on, I'll be talking, but I'd like you to see if you could connect in with your own flow. Because each of us has a different lung capacity. And to be honest, no two breaths replicate each other. So as the breath and the body shift and change because of this deepening breathing, you will find that maybe things are different. Maybe you can go a little bit longer. Maybe you can fill in another space in the lungs that you were unaware of before you paid attention. So you want to cultivate all of this because you're refining and expanding the lung capacity and the ripple effect that the breath will have on your whole physiology. your nerves, your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, your circulation. You're oxygenating the blood and alkalizing your body with these deep breaths. So see how much you can allow the whole body to become very fluidic with it, very expanded, very focused. There's so many different places in the rib cage that can expand as a result of the breath. So see if you can, once you kind of started to focus in more and pay attention a little bit more to your own breath, see if you can start to make it really fluid, almost like a rippling effect in the ocean. So there's no strain, there's a huge amount of grace. The body around it is as relaxed as it can be. And at the same time, there's no pause, there's no holding, but there's a never-ending movement of the breath coming in and going out, expanded, more deep than it would be if you were just unconsciously just relaxed, allowing the breath to be the source of your focus, allowing it to become deeper and deeper and fuller without strain. And to finish, let's take a deep breath in again, and this time hold your breath. When the air, and then see if you can add a little bit more air without tension. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Feel there's a kind of a hovering, timelessness that you can access at this point. And then slowly relax and let the air come out and feel the shift in your whole physiology as a result of this. And then sit in the stillness, the breath is back to normal, sit in the space and just observe again that you are slightly different, that things have changed and you've enhanced something in yourself. And then look to see what intention or dedication you want to make for this yoga practice today. What is the purpose? Maybe a problem to solve. Maybe you just want to send energy to the world or love to someone that you care about. And it can even be an issue you're struggling with that you want an answer to. So you're sending the intention, let this practice bring more wisdom. How can it expand me so I can find my way? Take one more deep breath in. Take this intention, place it in your heart center. Slowly breathe out, let everything go one last time. And then slowly open your eyes. And as always, let us start with cat-cow. And I hope you have a yoga block nearby or a book or something, because we will be using that a little bit. So we'll start doing cat-cow. If you have a block and it's not near you, just jump up and get it, because we will be using it in a little bit. So back and forth, come into the arched position and pause for a minute. And in this position, check that the hips are as wide as you can have them. And you get in touch with your tailbone, and then see if you can sink the waist and sink the ribs. Allow the shoulders to squeeze and your chin to stretch. Just feel that position more intensively. Then go in the opposite direction, pulling your stomach in and then sending the tail down and dropping your head. Then spread the shoulders as wide apart as you can and deepen this position again. Now starting from the tail, lift the tail first and roll through the sacrum, roll through the waist, roll through the ribs and the shoulders and the neck, and look up with your eyes, so the eyes are even part of this. Then start from your tail again. Tail curls down, sacrum curls down, stomach starts to lift, the ribs lift, the shoulder blades spread, the neck drops, and look inwards towards your navel. And again, from the tail, You're starting to lift. So it's like a whip, a slow motion ripple effect, moving through your body all the way up. So you get this flow coming through. And then reverse, start from the tail, moving through your body, going from the bottom all the way to the top. The head is the final movement in the cycle. And again, tail starts dragging the spine into a different shape, opening up and moving into the upper part of your eyes. And then last one coming forward, rolling down, and the head is the last one to come down. Very good. Open your knees wider. So your feet are more together, the knees are apart, and this is where I wanted this yoga block. So before we get into that position, just squeeze your shoulder blades up and down a few times and feel that pinch and that high part of the spine. That's an area that gets rounded for us and very, very sticky. So we want to see if we can just get to feel what is that. Now, we're going back into a funny child's pose where the hands are out. If you have a block, I'm placing my block high to start with, and I want to sink the rib cage and the chest downwards and find a place that I can have my block. Now that block's too high for me, so I'm putting my forehead further down and seeing if I can get this stretch through the shoulders coming into the back of that high part of the neck. Once you've done that and felt, see if you want to move the head away from the block and put your forehead or your chin down and just allow the armpits to open, the very high part of the spine to kind of sink. If you gently feel like you're opening the armpits further and the shoulder blades rotate, you can get even more deepening into this position. Some of you may not be this open and the block is definitely there to support you. And in this position, take a few breaths. Take your time, allowing all of these tight, gunky, strange areas to start to loosen up. Allowing the upper spine to start to open and change shape and move a little bit. It gets a little tight down there. Big breath in, big breath out, and then come back up onto your hands and knees and bring the knees and feet together and just sit back into a normal cat-cow, but actually, I'm sorry, normal child pose, but let's take the block just for a moment and place it here. When the block is here, it means we don't have such a deep hip hinge, and now stretch forward again and really wiggle the fingers as far forward as you can to see how much stretch you can get in your back, and drop your head down. Maybe you go really low. Maybe you don't, but you want to feel this tractioning in the ribs if possible and in the armpits. So you get really down there. Take a breath in. Breathe out, allowing yourself to sink a little bit more. Let the head drop. One more time, breath in. Breath out, stretch the fingers even further away if possible. Take your block out and now sit backwards. So whatever you're able to do, one more time. Child's pose with a long stretch of the arms. Breath in, breath out, reaching the hands out. Breath in, breath out. One more time, breathing in and breathing out. And now bring the hands by your feet. And one more time now, you let the elbows go out. It's a different feeling, you're more rounded. Deeply breathe into the back of the shoulder blades. Breathing out, sink. Breathing in, opening up there. Breathing out, sinking. One more time, breathing in. Breathing out, opening up between the shoulder blades, very wide, and come up to your sitting position. As you sit up, feel the spinal column start to lengthen. The back of the neck lengthen. This upper back is so hard to get to move and to get vertical and to start to have its own ripple effect upwards. So we want to keep searching for that feeling. So we're going into our kneeling sun salutations to warm up, rotating, hands come out and come into prayer pose. Lifted vertical position as much as you can. Forward on your hands and knees. Shift the weight towards the fingertips and then bend, and you go as low as you can without losing the angle. Press up again. It doesn't matter if you go very far, and sit back towards your heels. Stretch out, roll up to a sitting position. Rotate the arms out, hands come out. Settle in prayer. Forward on your hands and knees. Bend the elbows. Press back up. Sit back towards your heels. Roll up to a sitting position. Hands go out. Settle in prayer. Broaden the collarbones. Forward on your hands and knees. Keep the collarbones wide as you lower. Press back up. Sit back towards your heels. Roll up. Hands go out. Settle in prayer. Now we flow. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Very good. Before we move on, you're still sitting on your heels. Just to open up the sides of the legs a little bit, drop your hips to one side. And just for a minute, keep this hip down and lengthen out away. So you feel this stretch on the side of the hip. Check with your pelvis, rotating it in and out. So I'm literally arching my back, scooping to get that area to start to release a little bit. It can be really tight and affect down dog and affect a lot of poses. Come back on your heels or wherever you are, drop to the other side. So you're really focusing on between the top of the pelvis and the beginning of the thigh, and then curve a few times and just gently press over. See if you can get a sense of that part of the body, if it can talk to you a little bit. Very good. Now come back on your heels, and from here extend the hands for stretching the palms out. So we're going to warm up the hands because they are so important. Stretching the wrists. Lean back and open up the palms. Turn the hands the opposite way. So back of the hand, many people have to bend the elbows first. Stretch. And then roll through the hands. My cat's Twilight wants to help out again. Palms facing down. Press. Roll back. Other side, back of the hands. Press. And roll back. One more time. Palm of the hand, heel of the hand away from you. And roll back. Stretching the fingers. Last one, back of the hand. And roll back. Now the same thing applies with our feet in a different way when you curl the toes under. Now Very important to get as much of a wedge into the heel. So many times when people start, they can't bend the heel. The Achilles is very tight, the calf is tight. So get as much of a hook with both feet as you can, and see if you can get your big toe joint together, your knees together, and your heels as close as possible. I like to really wiggle back into that shape before I come up. So you're bending your toes way backwards so you can wear high-heeled shoes. But you want to get the feet open. The feet have so much energy in them. They ground us and they get a little atrophy. Keep pressing your heels towards each other. And notice if you can feel your little toe, it's not taking much weight right now. So we need to make sure we open up both sides. Come forward. I'm turning this way. Turn the heels out and get the little toe side nicely hooked under. You want a real good hook there. And then press back a bend. So now the little toe side of the foot is down. Those of you who are super flexible, bring the heels towards each other, but don't lose the weight on the little toe side. If you have that ability, this is what you're striving for, all 5 toes down. Just feel that, and then come back. Now, for a lot of people, this sitting on the foot is very challenging. We're going to come forward. Can you, well, this is going to be tricky. Can you grab your toes? You may have to not take weight. I'm pretty flexible, but can you pull the toes off the floor? See if you can stretch. Now we're stretching the top of the foot. Such an important part. And then shift and go for the other side. So I'll turn my back. Maybe you have to go off to the side. Grab the toes and stretch the top of the foot. Really work it so you get the top of the foot nicely lengthened out. And then come down. Now back on your hands and knees and curl the toes under you. So now our first down dog, remember, you want as much of a, it's like someone's grabbing your tail here and pulling it up. Check and find that association, and also get in touch with your hips. Get them nice and wide. Now, keep all of those qualities and take a moment. Press your heels down, just like we did. Can you get as much stretch as possible into the ankle without your knees straight? It changes everything if you straighten your knees. Keep the knees bent, and now press your chest back and reach out with the arms. And slowly see if you can straighten the legs. So you have a very long traction with the energy of the heels going down, the energy of the arms pressing out. So you're literally pushing your heels and your hands away from each other and lifting your hips up towards the ceiling, lifting your sit bones up, looking to stretch into the back of the hamstrings as much as it's able to come out in. Really extend and then bend the knees back down. And cat-cow a few times to loosen up your back even further. Now, let's take the hands and turn them inside out. You'll probably hate me now, but place the hands on the floor. Now, this is not to look good in yoga class. This is to really open up tight areas of our body. So you do the best you can, and maybe for some of you, this is all you can do, but see if you can lift up into a down dog. Very, very intense opening into the forearms and upper back, and it won't look nice, but it will do you a lot of good. So just pause here and take a few breaths. And then bend the knees, unhook the toes, bring your hands out and just shake them. Just open up the energy. So huge amount of tightness in our arms. All of us are doing a lot of computer work now, but mostly the movement of the lower limbs is this way. And now we're asking them to do the reverse. So remember, entropy, we're looking to undo what is being done too much and keep ourselves from breaking down. We're trying to ride the middle ground. So same thing, we usually collapse. We want to keep opening up this area. So to open up this area even further, let's come to a standing position. And I hope you have, I've got a little ledge here, a counter, a table, even a wall to put your hands on. If you have nothing but a wall, that's just fine. You want to take your hands and then walk back. So you have like the shape you would have when you're in a down dog, an L shape. And keeping your hands either pressed against the wall or flat on a surface. Again, stretch out and take it, almost indulge a little bit unless you're super flexible. See if you can feel how to press down and open up the armpits. They get very tight, very, very rigid and very closed. And if you're very flexible, and for everybody actually, can you send your bottom backwards? The feeling is that you're sticking your bottom out. Only if you're a very flexible person and you're sinking way down, back up a little bit and imagine someone grabbing your hips and lengthening you. For flexible people, you want length. For stiff people, you just want stretch. Now, everybody bend your knees. Send your bottom back and see if you can create more length. Imagine someone grabbing your pubic bone and pulling it backwards between your thighs. And then keep that. So you're tractioning all the way to the base of the pelvis and lengthen. Now send your body backwards a little bit to stretch out the whole trunk as much as possible. Lift your head up and look between your thumbs to make that part of the body work a little bit. Notice how different the sensation is now. See if you can get a sense of coiling your upper back as you hold this position. Drop your head for a minute and then come up to an upright position. And recover. I'll bend down so I can see you. Now, our next one, you're going to have your elbows like this. Now notice I don't have my elbows out. They're shoulder width and I have the hands clasped. So the first position, get your hands like this. If you're against the wall, you can have your hands that way. Or clasp, come to think of it. And again, press yourself out. It instantly changes the intensity into the upper back because you don't have the elbows kind of faking it for you, and it's going to bring to the surface a lot more tightness. So you want to feel this, all of this new area and sensation. See how much you can get a sense of that body starting to break up the congestion. As you hold this position, think of where your ribs are and your waist is, and see if you can pull that part of your body away from your elbows. So you open up the tissue in the armpits and in the rib cage and let your head drop down or lengthen. And again, we'll do the same thing. We're going to bend the knees, send the bottom out, tailbone goes up. See how much more stretch or length or space you can create, or just visit your edge. You're visiting your edge, that's totally fine. Take a deep breath in here. Make more space in the tissue. See if you can sink a little bit. Straighten the knees if possible, and slowly, with care, bring yourself back up to an upright position and turn to face the front and just roll your shoulders around because you just did a lot. Now, stay standing, but I'm coming down so you can see me fully because we're also going to go into the limbs a bit. Take your hands and bring one elbow under and the other elbow on top. This is half of eagle pose. We worked on this a little bit last week. Pull the elbows down and notice the shoulder blades are coming forward. Let them come forward so you can get that elbow clasp. It's fine to be like this at the beginning. If that's the only way you get there, that's fine. Once you have more mobility, can you bring your back up in spite of the shoulders coming forward and really drag the shoulders and elbows down? Keep vertical. Slowly lift the elbows up. So you want to get even more, again, stretching across the shoulder blade in the center of the spine as much as you can. Bring the hands down. Take the arms out, expand the chest, and other arm on elbow comes underneath. Wrap around, grab anything, attempt to get the elbows together under the body, and in an ideal pose, your thumbs are facing your nose. But that takes time. You just, wherever you are, if you're getting a stretch, you're doing great. Remember, at first, you're just trying to get this and gripping anything you can. You keep refining as more movement comes in. Pull the shoulders down, elbows down, and lift your chest up. Lift the back of the ribs up. Try to get as much verticalness in between the shoulder blades into your neck. Then slowly lift your elbows. Feel all of that stretching that's going on. Area we don't move that much and has so much life and freedom and wakes up our spine, wakes up our rib cage and our lungs and heart, opens up a lot of congested energy. Bring the arms down, shake them out. Bring the hands in front now, palm facing each other. Turn them so your thumbs are facing down. Cross and clasp your hands together. So you have this funny clasp. Bend in, curl around. Some of you may have to do this. Get the elbows as close together as you can and see if you can pull the arms out. Some of you can do it easily. Some of you can't. Some of you are stuck here. That's totally fine. You're literally asking all the bones in the arms to start to wake up. Stretch out. We'll do this 2 more times. Come in. Elbows come as close together as you can. Slouch way over if this is the only way you can go somewhere. Stretch. Sometimes it's in the fingers and in the thumbs that it's the most dramatic. Wherever it is, you're just wringing out all the joints in your arm, including the fingers. So many little bones there, so many places that rigidity comes in, and we want to keep literally rinsing out those areas. So undo your fingers, but keep a track of which hand is underneath. It's my right, so I'm taking my right, I'm putting it on top. Clasp. Here we go again. Forward, elbows, stretch, and back. And again, in, elbows, and stretch. And back. And again, in, elbows, and stretch. And back. Shake your arms out. And just for a minute, check and see how this whole upper part of your back and shoulders feel. We get very used to living in a very tight place. So you want to just familiarize yourself with a little bit more. Come back down to the floor. Come back into your 4-legged position or cat-cow position. And we're going back into down dog now. We should have a completely different quality. So curl those toes way under. Stretch your elbows. And then lift up and send your hips back. Before you straighten your legs, really feel how much more length and openness you have in your armpits. Feel the fingers and the arms extending, and then slowly stretch your lower limbs, the legs out. Extend a little bit deeper and feel the whole side of your body moving away from the hands towards the legs. So I'm hoping you have a much deeper
down dog experience coming in for you right now. Really lengthen everything out. Bend the knees back down. And now bring your elbows onto the floor. So if I'm like this. So in this position, you want to spread your shoulder blades wide apart and just look down between your hands, like towards your thumb area, and spread your fingers wide apart. Now, see if you can walk your legs up, but keep pushing away from the floor. Notice how much more work is happening in your chest. A lot of work. Keep pushing away from the floor. And if those of you who want to, just walk your feet a little more in and keep pressing your chest towards your legs if you can, and working on that upper body area. Come back down. Sit into your heels. Stretch your arms out. Go into your child's pose. Lengthen everything out. And then lift your head, look at your hands, walk your hands to the right, stretching out the left side of the ribs. Let everything drop. Lift your head, look at your hands, walk your hands to the other side, and relax. Come back and come up to a sitting position again. And now we will repeat the kneeling sun salutations, really noticing how different it should be fitting in your upper back. So from here, forward on your hands and knees. Check that upper spine feels a lot longer. As you bend, can you really broaden your collarbones? Press back up. Sit back towards your heels. Roll up to a sitting position. Hands come out. Settle in prayer. Forward on your hands and knees. Bend the elbows to go down. Press back up. Sit back towards your heels. Roll up to a sitting position. Hands go out and settle in prayer. Now we will add to this. Forward on your hands and knees. Bend the elbows. Press back up and curl the toes under you. So from here, open the knees and go into your down dog. Press, open the chest, lengthen the legs, and really expand. Pushing from the hands all the way up to the sit bones. Open the armpits, bend the knees back to the floor. Sit back towards your heels in child's pose. Roll up to a sitting position. Hands go out and settle in prayer. We'll add a little more. Now we'll be layering forward on your hands and knees. Bend the elbows to go down. Press back up. Make sure your knees and feet are hip width apart and slowly push back into your down dog. Hold this position for a minute and refine it. Keep checking that the armpits are long, the legs are long, the hips are long. Now, right leg or one leg goes up. Really lift it as high as you can. You have to keep pushing with the arm, pressing away. So you just have a nice stretch here. Just feel the stretch. And then bend the leg back, put it on the floor. Improve your down dog again. And now we'll do the other leg. Lift the leg up in the air. Just feel that nice length. See if you can press into the hamstring of the opposite leg to open it a little bit more. Lower it back down. Press your heels away again. So massive stretch in your back body. Bend your knees down. Stretch back into child's pose. Roll up to a sitting position. Nice tall spine. Hands come out. Settle in prayer. And again, forward on your hands and knees. Open the knees hip width apart. Curl the toes under and slowly press back into your down dog. Start to feel the strength in the arms, working to create a lot of length from your hands through your hips all the way down into the heels. Keep pushing and lift your first leg up. Get as deep a stretch as you can. Open the leg a little bit more. Put the leg down. Press back into your down dog again. So you have that length. Take the other leg. Lengthen it up. Lifting, pushing into the hamstring of the leg that's still on the ground. Come back. Find your down dog again. And now with care, bring yourself forward to plank. Just hold this position for a minute so you feel that long trunk position and the stability in your arms. And now bend your knees, bring your feet together, sit back into your heels again, child's pose, stretching out the whole body. Roll up to a sitting position again. Hands rotate out, coming out, and settling prayer. And again, forward on your hands and knees. Feel the stability. Bend your elbows. Press back up. Open your knees hip width apart. Curl the toes. Push back into your down dog. Lengthening out, moving through all those points. Take the first leg, lift it up again as high as you can. Now keep it in the air and bend the foot towards your bottom. And slightly lift the knee up towards the sitting. So you're twisting your pelvis sideways. Come back, stretch the leg up. And see if it can go a little higher. Put it back down on the floor. And again, adjust your down dog. Get as much stretch. The hips should be opening a little bit more now. Lift your other leg up as high as it'll go. Bend the foot towards your bottom so you stretch in the front of the thigh. Open the hip so the knee goes to the ceiling. Bring yourself back to square. Lift the leg up again. Press deeper into the stretch. Bring your legs back to down dog. Refine your down dog again. And then come forward to plank. Feel the strength in your arms. Adjust if you need to. Bend the knees, toes together. Sit back towards your heels again. Nice long stretch, opening up even more. Roll up to a sitting position. Hands go out. Settle in prayer. Forward on your hands and knees again. Bend the elbows to go down. Press back up. Open the knees hip width apart and curl the toes under you. Find the corner of the hips and press back up again. Stretching away from your hands. Work on that down dog. Get as much as you can out of it. Take your first leg up to the ceiling as high as it'll go. Bend the foot in towards your bottom. Open the hip up, sending the knee to the ceiling. Square yourself back. Lift the leg up again as high as it'll go. Bring the leg back next to the other one, down dog. Again, refine your position, stretching out. Lift the other leg up. Let it go as high as you can. Bend the foot so that you stretch the knee up. Rotate your hip to get the knee going to the ceiling. Square back. Lift the leg as high as you can. Bring the leg down. Press back into your heels again. Very long stretch here, and then again, come forward to plank. Hold this position. Just feel your strength. Bend the knees. Curl the feet together. Stretch back into your child's pose, stretching out. Nice long stretch. Roll up to a sitting position. Hands go out and settle in prayer. Well done. A lot of deepening stretch into these poses. Let's go into rabbit pose first because we've been working a lot on the spine. I'll get my shirt off. It's been chilly here. So just glance in my direction first. Rabbit pose, if you've never done rabbit pose before. The first most important thing is grabbing your heels. And the second most important thing is getting the crown, the very top of your head on the floor. So your head's going to be in. Once I have my head down, I try to get my knees as close to my forehead as I can. I pull my shoulders up and then I rock as far forward as I possibly can while I'm pulling on my heels. So let's do this together if you're not already in the position because it's a lot. It's very intense stretch on the back. It's a very wonderful one. So first of all, grab your heels. Put the top of your head on the floor. So just get used to the fact you have weight on your head and get a good grip on the heels. And then start getting your forehead and knees as close together as you're able to today and start lifting your bottom up. The more you lift your bottom up, the more you have to pull on the heels to stretch out and keep pulling your stomach very strongly into your back to really open up all those back muscles. The more the hips can lift forward, the deeper and more expanded the stretch will be into your whole back muscles. Very intense stretch. Take a breath in here. Breathing out, sit back towards your heels and come up to a sitting position. So marvelous, marvelous stretch into the spine. Now we'll focus into the shoulders. So we're going to have the same head on the floor, bottom in the air position, but now you clasp your hands. By the way, if you have a tight shoulders, really, really tight, and let's have all of you clasp your hands and just see if you can squeeze. If you can't really do this and you're still here, take a strap or something so that if you notice, I'm not having my hands. This is more, you need more flexibility. This is less flexibility. You'll be able to get more out of the stretch. So use a yoga strap, use a towel, use something. Once you have the position, drop your head down on the floor. So same position we were in. And now let the hands come up. Really stretch them out, and the more you can take the rock forward and roll onto your head, you get this leverage to get the shoulders to start to loosen up. If it's really uncomfortable, you should be using a strap because there's a juicy, sweet spot where this really does magic for the shoulders. So just keep stretching. You should be a little bit looser in your back now. Take a breath in here. Breathing out, let the shoulders drop a little bit further out. It's a marvelous, marvelous stretch. And then with care, bring the hands back. Sit back towards your heels. And roll yourself up to an upright position. So lots of movement into the chest and back and shoulder girdle today. We're really focusing in a lot in that area. Let's let's do camel pose next, do Strasana, which really focuses into here further. So I highly recommend you get some kind of padding under your knees because you will be up on the knees here. So from this position, curl the toes under. And first of all, just clasp your hands. Pull the shoulders up. I usually bend my hand and roll them up and back. So you notice I'm rolling up and back, lifting my chest up. So this area, it's like someone's hiking you as high up as you can And just hold this position. Notice also the upper back arcs a bit. But the sternum is lifting up to the ceiling, and then see if you can lengthen the arms a bit and look up at the ceiling. So you have this big, big, big chest opening you're working towards. Come back and relax. So that's to give you the feeling of the chest. And now take your hands. You can have your thumbs facing in or your fingers facing down. There's a few different ways. This is actually a nice way because it'll give you some pressure into the hips. Now, with your hands nicely wedged, use the wedge to lift the rib cage. Just get that sense. High, long waist and very slight pressure with the hands. Now, pull the shoulders up and roll them back as well. So keep the pressure down in the sacrum or the pelvis and up out of your lower back. The more you can lift your diaphragm, the more you get that. Now just lean back a little bit and look up at the ceiling. Notice that you're lifting out of your lower back and massively opening your chest if you can. And if you're brave, you let your head fall back. Come back up and sit back into your heels. Because we're taking this to the next level. But now I want to just some rules. If you're going further back, when you come up, your head must come up last. It's very tempting when I say come up to use your head. Don't do that because you can strain your neck. You want to focus on the rib cage. There is a two huge bands of muscles that will be the power. So once you're back, I'll just do what we just did. Once you're back, when you come up again, you want to keep your head there and use your back to bring you up and then your head. It's very tempting to go like this. Not a good idea. So here we are. We're going to do the same thing again, and now we're going to reach one hand and one hand back towards the heels if you're ready for it. If you're not, you stay at the level we were at. We start the same way. Gentle pressure into the hips. Lift the diaphragm. Lift up hugely here. Let the shoulders come up towards your ears to get even more lift, and then take the shoulders back. Lift the chest. Look up at the ceiling. Check your pelvis is nicely pressing forward, and then can you reach one hand and one hand back and press your chest up, drop your head back. Really open up the front of the chest. Take a breath in here. Lift the rib cage, open it up, breathing out, relax your neck, and here we go. We're coming up even. Bring your head up last. Sit down for a minute. Let the effect of what you just take come into place. Notice that your upper back may feel more vertical. You want that. That's the entropy of life pulling us down. We want to keep energizing this part of our body to stay youthful and vibrant and feel better, give energy to our heart and lungs. We're doing this again. And this time, if any of you want to go lower, you can have your heels lower. If you want to stay where you're at, that's totally fine. So the hands press wherever you want them to be. Press down. Imagine the lower pelvis is going down and the waist is going up. Really lift the diaphragm up. Pull the chest up, pull the shoulders up and back to open the chest a lot. See if you can slowly go into this position again. I'm keeping my heels up because I want to really make sure I have all my body parts coordinated before I go deep. And press the hips forward, let the head drop. Open the chest. Feel the spine lifting and opening your chest up. Keep the shoulders rounding open to open the chest. Take a deep breath in here. Breathing out, slowly come up, head comes last. Let the head come to straight. Just feel your body and then sit back down again. Very, very intense pose. By the way, back bends are amazing, but they're also poses to build very intelligently because they energize your body so powerfully. They change your physiology.
and they affect your nervous system. They give you a lot of energy, but they have to be done right. And they're exhausting. They can be hard work. They're not like a relaxation practice. They're an intensity practice. So well done for that. Let's go into Virasana, or because whenever we're doing these movements, we're stretching out our quads and the hip flexors in the front of our body. So from here, if you have tight knees or tight hips or thighs, get yourself a block between your knees. I'm going to do it lengthwise. I'm going to do it like that. I think, I'm not sure, I'm turning this way. Let's start with the knees hip width apart. So not together, hip width apart. Once you have, so if you look down at your two thighs, they should make two straight lines. So you have your hip bones and the thighs should be going straight down. Then you open your feet a little bit and you turn your toes towards each other. So you would call it a sickle position. We're working on the outside line of the leg, including that little toe that we tried to press down way at the beginning of our practice today. Reach under and grab, wiggle your fingers between, in the top of your calf where it goes into the crease of your kneecap, and pull the calf out of it. Literally roll it out and very slowly sit back between your legs. So I'm high because it takes me a while to get into this pose. And have a look at your legs. They should make two straight lines. Some of you probably plop down here very easily. I'm moving my block lower to allow more range of movement now because I can feel my muscles releasing. So again, children sometimes will sit like this, very nicely play marble. It's such a good position because it's moving the whole femur bone, the thigh bone inward, and it's balancing out our quads extensively. We need both out and in. So find that sweet spot where it's okay for you in this pose and lift up. Can you feel a corner being made between your pelvis and your thighs? So again, lots of joints that need to be moving, and that's why we have a practice for a lifetime. So nobody's good at all poses, and some poses are more demanding than other on different physiologies. Some of you find this easy, and you may want to go back so you get more stretch. Some of you may go onto your elbows and then lie down on the floor, and that's fine because then there's a much deeper stretch. I'm definitely not ready for that one myself, but you want to stretch in the quads. So allow the stretch to happen, allow the body to get used to what's being asked to do. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. See if you can go a little bit deeper. If you're up higher, if you're on the floor, relax more. And then very slowly bring yourselves back up. And then come out of this very respectfully because this is intense. Bring your feet together and sit down and notice how nice and comfortable that is now in response to all of this. And then from here, let's stretch the legs out. So we've done a lot of work opening the muscles, refining down dog, extending the leg muscle. So we'll do a forward bend now, Paschimottanasana. When your legs are in front of you, look at the line of the knees. We're striving to get the legs and educate them to be going straight forward. So I like to roll my hamstrings a little bit out. My legs tend to be outwardly rotated. So I'm looking at the organizing of my own muscles. In an ideal body, the quad should make a straight line going straight forward, and there's 4 bands of muscle, and then the hamstrings should be right behind them on the bottom. But nobody walks around like that. That would be a Michelangelo sculpture rather than human beings, because he really studied anatomy and he created beautiful physiology of really examples of ideal anatomy. Such a great inspiration. So look at your kneecaps.
See if you can get them straight. Your feet, you do the best you can. I'd rather have the kneecap straight. Some people, the feet will be out, but you attempt to bring them straight. Where's my strap? My strap is in the wrong place. So sit up and get your strap around your feet if you have it. If you don't have it, you can pretend. And you want to lift up that spine again, as straight as possible. We want this L shape again. Here's that down dog one more time in another angle. Can you press down the backs of the knees? And remember, flex your feet. In fact, let's do something fun. Let go of the strap for a minute and bend the knees. So when the knees are bent, like the way I like to get you into down dog, you can get the calf and the Achilles much longer. So see if you can get a sense of how can you flex your foot as much as possible and then extend the leg without compromising there. It will give you a different quality to your stretch. Now go back to the strap or just lifting your spine up and activate the legs as best you can. Nice lift, get a sense of this corner, and then let's go forward. So you attempt to keep as much corner as possible, and you work towards your feet. If you have a strap, use your strap. If you can't get to the feet, you get wherever you can. Now here we go. We're going to inhale and lift. Lengthen the back. Stretch from the hips. Open your chest even though you're in a forward, and then as you exhale, you soften and see if you can find the space in your body. And again, inhale, lengthen everything up through the crown of the head, and as you exhale, you pull and lengthen from the hips a little bit more. And again, inhaling, nice length, and this time exhale, go into whatever shape you feel serves you best, because we're going to stay here for a little while, softening the body. You don't want to be too rigid now. This is a time for restorative energy, letting go, releasing, allowing the body to just receive. You've been working very hard in a very intense, focused way, so now you want to access the other part. Notice the breathing. Use the breathing to let go a little bit more. If you're more flexible, if you pull with the arms a bit, you can get even more traction if that's what you feel like doing, or you just rest, allowing the body and the gravity now to allow the opening. Bring yourselves back up to an upright position and bend one knee. So we're going to do a little bit of a twist. So how close in you want to be is your call. Notice I did not move my bottom. So I was even and I didn't change anything, and I just drew this foot in as far as I could get it to go. Grab the knee, pull up, lifting as much as you can. So you want this sense from your sit bones right up through the crown of the head. Can you make that upper back lift as well? And the shoulders be on the side. Now, keep all of that verticality and lift even more. Nice and high, and start rotating. Can you keep your shoulders even? So as much rotation as you can. If you're more advanced, you can hike your elbow. You can do the more advanced version. If you want to just stay with the basic, you can work just as hard with basics as you can in the advanced pose. And it's good to master as much as you can. You're constantly getting rid of, and you're reversing entropy. You're introducing newness, change, cleansing, releasing, decongesting your body. You're doing so much good for yourself. Then come back, extend the legs out, and bend. Remember, sit bones don't move, and you bend the other leg in, coming in as far as it's ready to go. This side is tighter for me. Hold, lift up with both hands. Get as much lift as your body's ready to give you. Try to be vertical. Can you get that upper back to work? Then Other hand behind, big lift. Pulling up, rotating as much as you're ready to do. Looking to see how much rotation you can get. If you want to do the advanced versions with the elbow on the outside, go for it. Nice rotation. Wringing out your organs. Separating your vertebra as much as you can. Keeping the chest open. Can you notice your collarbones? Are they even? Nice rotation. And then come back and stretch your legs out, bounce your knees up and down. We will do another twist, which are so wonderful to resolve back problems. So we start sitting on the heels and then drop over the way we did right at the beginning to get into this stretch on the side. Bring the leg out. Now, the foot is still bent. If you open it a little bit more, in an ideal world, both sit bones sit on the floor, but that's in an ideal world. So we may not be ideal, but that's kind of the direction we're looking to go with the pose. Then some of you will end up here. Some of you can cross over. So you find the angle that works for you and you attempt to get that sit bone with the intention to go to the floor. It depends upon your IT band and all the muscles around here. Now, one hand behind, one hand on the knee, lift up again, pull this knee as far over as it will go, and then rotate around. So again, you get this huge spiraling. I'm hoping you're getting a nice stretch in the hip as well, and you rotate around. Very intense. Wonderful way to wring out your joints. Big breath in. Big breath out. See if you can find more qualities in the stretch. And then undo your legs and let's go to the other side. So if you can, you come back to the sitting position on your heels. Check your spine. Can you get from your tail up to your shoulders and your head vertical and then go off? So you're on your side. Bring the foot out. The foot is still bent. Bring it out a bit. Check to see, can you get your sit bone down? Doesn't matter if you can or can't. Just know thyself. And then if you can, you wiggle this foot over. And hold the knee. Lift the hip up. And rotate around. Looking to get as much spiral as you can. As much order in your spinal column, as much order in the hips, as much order in your joints, just spanning your own body and looking to see where you can bring in more. Can you make more lift in the rib, in the high part of the shoulder blade? Right there in that area that gets so hard to feel. How much rotation can you get? Take a big breath in, breath out. And then come back, stretch your legs out, bounce your knees up and down, and let's lie on our backs. You want your knees bent up into your chest. So in this position, we'll go into a variation of happy baby pose. Bend the knees in, so the spine is long and flat. Check your shoulders, and just rock side to side. To get as much softness into the back body as you can, and maybe the back fully on the floor. Now, open the feet, and I'm putting my elbows inside my knees and grabbing my feet. So you want this funny position. You can also do it here if you can't get all the way up. And again, rock side to side a little bit. So you're emulating a baby that's just grabbing the feet and playing. Find center and just take one leg and extend it a little bit. Feel that stretch. Bring it back. Take the other leg out. Feel the stretch. Take it back. Take both legs out. Feel the stretch. A lot's going on. See how much you can release. We've been working quite intensively in different areas. There's a ricochet effect. Bring it back. And again, take it out. See how much you can open. Lengthen. Don't rush to straighten the knees. The knees are almost, they're like a fake straight. They throw the intensity into another area. Now, can you bring your soles of your feet together and pull them towards your face a little bit? Your bottom may come up. Bring your feet back and bring your feet together. Put them on the floor. Check that your spine is long, and we'll do a figure 4 stretch. So one foot comes up in front of your knee, and then lift the other leg up. So you have a nice hip stretch again. Feel the hip. If you can, keep your lower back on the mat. Bring the foot down, change legs. Other leg comes up. Open the knee. Bend the knee up. Pull the leg in. Bring the legs down. And now going into the Shavasana, much deserved Shavasana, roll the shoulders open. So we've spent a lot of time getting the collarbones wide. Take advantage. Really set yourself up right. Check that your head is long. Check that your spine feels nice and long. And then slowly send the legs out. Just for a minute, flex your feet, relax them, and let them roll out. So you should be in a long position, but now close your eyes and fully relax. So take this moment to span your own body. Feel the weight of your limbs. Feel where you have tightness and where you have looseness. Just span quietly without judgment every part of your body. Connect with it. If you can, without stress, let go of tension. Great. If you still notice tension that you can't let go of, just know that. That's who you are at this moment. This is what's going on right now. And as you let go of all of this tension, relaxing more and more, allowing gravity to support you and cradle you, start deeply letting go and opening to who you really are, without story, without anything to do, without the past, without the future. Access that place where you are part of the stream of life, this ever-changing, flickering, transitional consciousness that is always changing, like a river. There's never a moment where the river is the same, and yet it's always the river. So see if you can find this awareness of who you really are. And just for a moment, allow yourself to be that nothingness that is everything. And now slowly take a few slow, deeper breaths. Just get in touch with your fingers and your toes. And with your eyes closed, bend your knees and with the help of your hands, roll to one side and slowly bring yourselves back up to a seated position. And as you settle into sitting, a new shape,
a new moment in time, a new texture. Check into that place inside you. What am I like right now? What is this moment like right now? And to finish, let's bring our hands into prayer pose at the heart center and give thanks for the wisdom and teachings of yoga. And give thanks and honor the inner teacher inside of each of us. And let's ask that we stay open to the magic of our lives, stay open to the transitory aspect of everything about who we are, and stay involved with the creative process of giving and receiving so we can see we're truly living in grace. To finish, let's take a deep breath in. Bring your hands up to your forehead or third eye, down to your lips for a kiss. Bring your hands back down to your heart and bow your head to your heart. May your mind always be the servant of the heart. And then lift your head and open your eyes. And namaste, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And just a few notices. I forgot to send out the newsletter for the week, but all classes all month are at 9:30. They're completely predictable. Tuesdays is yoga, Wednesday is fascia release, Thursday is Pilates, Friday. On the 25th and 26th of this month, I'm teaching a fascia release workshop. And I think most of you are the yoga crowd, not the Pilates crowd, but next Thursday, not this week, next week, no Pilates, no class, because I have something that urgently needs to be taken care of. So have a wonderful day, and I will stop the recording.